Hi guys, welcome to Unit 7, Lesson 3, Volume of Pyramids. So in our last lesson we talked about the volume of prisms, or at least rectangular prisms, right? Now we're going to talk about pyramids. And so the biggest thing, it's very similar to the volume of prisms, but with pyramids, pyramids are 1/3 the volume of prisms when their base and their height are the same. And our next lesson is going to be all about that, so don't stress if that doesn't make sense. But the formula that we need to know is the volume of a rectangular pyramid is 1/3 the area of the base multiplied by the height. Okay? So sometimes the height is also called altitude, especially when it comes to pyramids. Okay? And that is the distance, a perpendicular distance from the base to the apex. Okay, so which is the vertex that's across from the base, right? So this right here, this would be called the apex. Okay, this is called, like these guys, that's an edge. We've talked about this before. This right here is the base. And then the faces, right, or the sides, those are called lateral faces. All right, but the thing that we need to know and the thing that we need to remember is that we need the area of the base multiplied by the height, and then you multiply that by 1/3, or once you get all of this, you could also divide it by 3. Either one of those ways can get you to your answer. Okay, so let's practice. All right, number 1 is also number 1 from your practice. They gave us this pyramid. I tried my best to draw it. Hopefully you can kind of get an idea. And it says, what is the volume of the pyramid? Well, remember, we're doing 1/3 times the area of the base, which all of these are rectangles, so that's just length times width, and then multiplied by the height. Okay, so really its volume is equal to 1/3 times the length times the width times the height. So in this case, we have 1/3 times 4 times 3 times 12. Okay? Now, I mentioned you could also divide by 3. Either way, totally fine. You also might recognize that, 1/3 times 3 is also equal to 1. So really, I could cancel those out, right? Because I could put that over 1. And then notice I have the same thing. I have 1 times 3, which is 3 in my numerator. 3 times 1 in my denominator. 3 over 3 reduces to 1. So those cancel, and really we're just left with 4 times 12, which is 48. Okay, centimeters, and we're talking volume, so our units should be cubed. Okay, now I mentioned dividing by 3, that would have been fine too. Like, if that makes more sense to you, let me rewrite it. We could have left this alone, or we could have written this whole thing as 4 times 3 times 12 divided by 3. That's fine too. We could do this. 4 times 3 is 12, times 12 is 144, divided by 3, which also gives you 48. Okay? So there's a few different ways that you can think about those numbers. Number 2 is number 4 on the practice. A crystal perfume bottle, ooh, fancy, is in the shape of a square pyramid. I forgot to write that at first, but this is really important. It's a square pyramid. The length of one side of the base is 3 inches and the height is 5 inches. What is the volume? So pyramids, like prisms, are named by their base. So if this is a square pyramid, that means the base is a square. So volume is equal to 1/3 times the length times the width times the height. So 1/3, well, let's see, the length of one side of the base is 3 inches. So that would be 3 inches times 3 inches, and the height is 5. Just like on the last one, there's multiple ways you can think about this. But the thing I noticed right away is 1/3 times 3, or 1/3 of 3, is 1. So those cancel, and we're just left with 3 times 5, which gives us 15, and we were talking inches cubed. So that would be your final volume. Okay? Number 3 is also number 1 on your quick check. How many cubic inches does the pyramid contain? Round to the nearest whole number. So I chose this one for a couple different reasons. One, obviously we're practicing finding the volume, but it worded it differently. It says, how many cubic inches does the pyramid contain? So cubic inches, that's what signifies that we're finding the volume. Okay? So this right here, cubic inches, means volume. That's a three-dimensional attribute. I also chose this because they actually gave you more information than what we needed. Remember, we need to find the area of the base, which in this case, that is 14 times 6, right? So volume is equal to 1/3 times 14 times 6, or you could rearrange those, times the height. Well, the height, remember, is the distance from the apex down to the base, right? So in this case, that's 12. So this information over here, they gave you like this, I think they're trying to say that this is the slant height. That is unnecessary information for what we're doing. Okay, so be on the lookout for things like that, because sometimes they'll do that. It's kind of almost like a gotcha thing, it seems like. And so just be aware. Okay, with this, I noticed right away that 1/3 times 6, or 1/3 of 6, is 2. So I'm going to rewrite this as 2 times 14 times 12. Well, let's see. I know what 2 times 12 is. That's 24. So really, I'm doing 24 times 14. Let me see what that is. 24 times 14. That gives us 336. Okay? And we were talking inches and its volume, so they should be cubed. Okay? Oh, and it said round to the nearest whole number. It was already in whole numbers. We didn't use the decimal at all. So everything was good. All right? I hope that helps. If you need more support, let me know. And otherwise, enjoy your day.